Welcome back, everybody, to a Little Less Fear podcast. I'd like to introduce Kathleen Donnelly Israel. Wisdom on the Camino is an enjoyable book about a 70-year young widow's journey and adventures walking the Camino Santiago de Compastela, 500 miles across northern Spain, solo, where she shared her spiritual philosophies with those she met along the way. Welcome to a Little Less Fear podcast, Kathleen. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So wow, your journey sounds incredible. And right away, I think of what a Christ-like adventure to have gone through. Is that the feeling that you had when you went through this?
Well, yeah, I guess the whole focus of my life is Christ. I Yeah, it was a spiritual journey. So yes, I guess I would say yes to that.
And how did you come to, go all the way to Spain and do 500 mile? How did you even come to this journey? Did you just say, I'm going to go to Spain and do this, or did it just happen out of the blue?
Well, I was caring for my husband. My husband had Parkinson's disease for 17 years. And the last 8 years, he was totally disabled. And so I had to be home taking care of him. And I spent a lot of time on the internet doing healing with enlightened thought leaders on the internet. And sometimes they would give away their healing. And sometimes I would have to buy their little program. But anyway, I just felt like God kept sending me more and more healers so I could heal. I had post-traumatic stress disorder from my childhood. And so anyway, during that time, my friend Judy went on the Camino Santiago, and I saw her posts about it on Facebook. And I thought, you know what? When Ron's done with his disease, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on the Camino. Because, Ron and I were married 48 years. I thought we would be riding our bicycles across France in our old age.
Yeah.
And then when he got sick, I was like, oh, I guess we're not doing that. And so then I had to develop a new dream. So that was my new dream, walking the Camino.
That's a beautiful dream. And so then I know that you have the book that you wrote came after the fact, correct?
Yeah. So when I got home from the Camino, I thought, well, I guess it's time for me to write my book. And I was going to write a book about, if you study for 8 years, you got some ideas of your own, and so through synthesizing all that teaching, I felt like I knew some things about healing, and I wanted to write a book about it. And then I was reluctant to be teachy. And so I remembered I told people on the Camino all those things. And so I wrote my book about walking the Camino and telling people those things.
But when you went to the Camino, did you already have in your mind that you were going to write a book, or did that happen all after all of the people that you came in contact with in the Camino?
Yeah, it came afterwards. And really, I thought I was going to write my book about my teachings. And then I ended up writing about telling people about the teachings on the Camino. So it's a lovely story.
Tell us about your experience. Tell us about the Camino. I'm on the edge here. I've never been to Spain, and I'm having these images of what it would be like to go there and have such a spiritual connection with people. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, and the Camino is beautiful too. Northern Spain is kind of like Northern California. It's all green with lots of flowers, and it was really beautiful to walk through there. I walked in the spring. I started in April, and then I met people. Like, one of the first people that I met was this guy from LA.
Wow.
I met a guy from LA.
Well, what a coincidence, huh?
Yeah. And so so I went into the albergue. That's where you stay. You stay in these buildings called albergues. And I went in the albergue, and this guy from Germany came saw me and spoke to me and said, I have a new friend here and he is so sad he can't do his life anymore. And so I said, oh, I'm so sorry. And I sat down next to him and I asked him why he was so sad. And he said that 3 of his friends had died in rapid succession. They were very good friends of his. And he couldn't even do his life anymore. He was so sad.
Jeez.
And so I said, well, I kind of know what you mean. My husband died and my mother died too. My husband died in August and my mother died in December. And so I said, oh, I think I have something in common with you. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry, your husband and your mother. Oh my gosh, and so we just became really good friends because we had that in common,
Uh-huh.
that was really lovely. And
And
so
what did
that
you?
was the first person that I really met and I shared with. And then I went to a place anyway, I went and stayed at this monastery and I met this woman from Holland. And actually it was my mother's birthday.
Oh,
And so it was her first birthday after she died, right? And so when I went to the grocery store, I bought a cake. It was just an unfrosted cake, right? And I put it on the table of the kitchen and I said, I hope everybody will have some cake with me for my mother's birthday. And this lady said, oh, you must have had a wonderful relationship with your mother. And I said, well, no, we always celebrated her birthday and I felt funny not celebrating it. So that's why I'm celebrating it. But no, I didn't have a good relationship with my mother. And she said, I didn't either. And so I felt like we had some solidarity right there with our, pain about our mothers. And so I told her about Ho'oponopono. Have you ever heard of that?
no, what could you repeat that?
Ho'oponopono.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a Hawaiian healing technique for the family.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of like a prayer or an incantation, whatever you want to call it. But first you say, I love you. And it's, I love God. I love God. God loves me. God loves that other person. They love God. And if you can say it, you say, I love that other person. But if you can't, you don't have to. I love you. I'm sorry. And it's not, I'm sorry I did anything, but I'm sorry the situation exists between us. So I have a problem with this person and I'm sorry it exists. And then I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And it's not forgive me because I did something wrong, but please forgive me for what's going on in me that caused me to attract this. So I have a low vibrational thing going on inside of me that's attracting adversity with that other person.
True.
And then thank you for showing me this so I could heal. So if I
Oh, I love that.
if I didn't see this pain in my heart, I
Yeah.
couldn't know where I needed to heal, right?
Mhm.
So thank you for showing me this so I could heal. And then you finish it off with the big I love you. I love God. God loves me. God loves the other person. The other person loves God. And anyway, so there you go. And you probably can say I love them and they love me afterwards. But what it does is it's a very special prayer that looses our binds that we have with other people. Like there's other people that we're sort of bound to, and they ruin our lives. Actually, what they're doing is pushing our buttons. And so I feel like it's really valuable to take responsibility for my buttons
Yes.
because they're just doing what they do. And
Right.
what they said made me think of something from a long time ago that was very hurtful. And it just pushes my button and I just, either I act out or I just feel sad,
True.
And so anyway, I shared that with her so that maybe she could lose her binds with her mother, because that's what I've been doing. So that was one of the things I wanted to share in my book that I shared with somebody on the Camino.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
It seems like the people you were coming across, they had a lot of things in common with you. It's like you were meant to. Did you start to feel like, you know what, this is exactly what I was meant to do because things were just kind of aligning for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can just see the angels up there shoving me in that direction, and because it's really, there are so many albergues on the way to Santiago. You can stay in any number of albergues, and I just stayed in the ones I stayed in. So
And so then you kept coming across these people, and then these are the
yeah,
stories that you share in your book.
yeah, mhm,
So what are
yeah.
the stories did you come across when you're doing this incredible walk on the Camino?
Well, there was a guy, it was in Sahagan, and that was another monastery I stayed at. And anyway, I came into the monastery, and the guy checked us in, and then he brought me to this room, and he said, okay, you're staying in here. There's 3 other people in this room. And I looked around, and there's stuff on all the beds. And I'm like, well, which bed should I put my stuff on? And he said, oh, I don't care. They just took over the place. Just pick a bed, take their stuff off of it, and that's your bed. And so
Oh,
that's what I did.
oh my God.
And so I laid down and took a nap. And when I got back, there they were, the 3 of them. And they didn't say anything about me taking my stuff off the bed or anything. And so we just became friends. And I asked them if they wanted to do some laundry. And they said yes, because on the Camino, I mean, you only take 2 changes of clothes. You've got the clothes on you, and then you got 2 changes of clothes. So you don't have enough for a big load of laundry. So usually you get together with somebody else and do laundry with them, and then you each pay a little bit. So they said, yeah, we want to do laundry. And so we went down to the laundry was in the kitchen. We went down to the kitchen and put our clothes in the wash. And then I went and took a shower. And so when I came out, they were in the patio, and with 2 other ladies, and they were eating salad. And I said, hi, I think it's time to get the laundry out and hang it up. And this guy from Ireland said, oh, I already took them out and I hung them up. They're up there on the walkway.
Oh,
And
that was nice of him.
yeah, it was really funny because he started kind of sheepishly grinning, and he said, when I hung your bra up, I got a thrill. So he was a real joker. And anyway, we were talking. Oh, and so they had a little bit of salad left in their salad bowl that they were all eating. So somebody gave me their plate, and somebody had a clean fork. And so they poured the rest of the salad on the plate, and that's what I ate for lunch that day. So that was just like how generous they were. They were just like, oh, here, have some food. And so I asked the guy from Ireland, I said, why did you come on the Camino? And he said, oh, years ago, my parents they lived in a little town in Ireland, and his parents moved to Dublin and left the 3 boys at home to finish raising themselves. And so his older brother had left, and which wasn't a problem. He was old enough to leave. And now he was old enough to leave. He had waited till his brother graduated from high school, and now he wanted to leave, and his brother was angry with him for leaving. And so he was there to just sort of figure out what to do. He thought maybe walking the Camino and God would talk to him while he was walking, something like that. And so I said, well, let's do some possibility thinking. And so I said, think about your family in your house, you know, and how do you feel? And he said, oh, I feel really good. I said, well, what's going on? And he said, oh, my parents are there. We're all three boys are there. We're just really happy. And I said, well, take your parents away. Now, what do you have? And he said, well, there's the three boys, and it's really great. We really enjoy being with each other. And I said, okay, so take your older brother away. What do you see? How do you feel? And he said, well, I feel good. I'm there with my brother. And then I said, well, take you away. What do you see? And he said, I see my younger brother crying. And I said, well, what do you think you could imagine to happen that would make your brother happy? And he said, well, I could take him to Dublin and he could live with them. He's their responsibility, not mine.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, that's it. So this is possibility thinking. And so it's a really important thing to be able to do, to think of the possibilities of other things that could happen that could make a change. And all he could see is, he needed to leave and his brother was crying,
Yeah.
But you can think of how could this situation be a happy situation, and then just create it. And then you can live into it.
That's really beautiful, Kathleen. I'm
Uh-huh.
wondering, did you find that most of the people that were on the Camino were searching for something?
Mhm. Either searching or helping, or like this, I went on the Camino in Portugal too this last year.
Wow.
And so I walked from Lisbon to Santiago and on to Finisterre. And I met a woman, and she, her brother was disabled. And although her brother was so high functioning, she never thought of him as disabled, but he was. And so she said he has a charitable organization. Her brother runs a charitable organization that gets prostheses and wheelchairs
Oh,
for
that's
people who
beautiful.
can't afford it.
Oh, I love that.
And she was walking the Camino to get money for her brother's
Oh,
organization. So
man.
she had a Facebook page. And so actually I became her photographer. So
What?
we were walking along, and I would take pictures of her so that she could put them on her Facebook page, and, for the supporters, so they could follow her along on her journey.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so there was a married couple, and I think they just wanted to do something together that was physical, that would bring them closer together. I didn't know, but they did not tell me anything that was wrong in their relationship. They looked very happy and in love with each other. Some people go on their honeymoon on the Camino, and so, but a lot of people were searching. That lady that I spoke to from Holland, she was there because she had already walked the Camino, and her friend wanted to walk the Camino. And so she was there to support her friend.
Oh, that's beautiful. This is the one in Spain.
Yeah, the one in Spain.
How long is the Camino? How many miles? How long does it take?
It's like 500 miles. It's like 489
What?
miles. Yeah, 489 miles. They say 500. So, but
Well, how long are you on this Camino for? How long does that take?
well, the first one I was there for 66 days, but I decided to take Sunday off, so I didn't walk on Sunday because I was, walking along, and then on Sunday I would walk all day, and I would be so tired when I got in that I would just fall asleep. Then I'd get up and say, "Oh, is there mass?" And it would be too late, and I missed mass, and I'm like, "Gee, I'm on this holy pilgrimage, and I'm not even going to mass on Sunday. So, so that's when I decided every Saturday night I would get a hotel room and stay and be like a tourist on Sunday in the town.
How do you
So,
even prepare physically for walking so much? I mean, you have to be, did you condition yourself before this? Were you a hiker before this? How do you do this physically?
when I went, before I went, while I was still taking care of Ron, I used to go down to the bay, San Diego Bay, and I would walk 5 miles with my friend. And
You mean 5 miles a day?
5 miles, 3 days a week in the
That's
morning.
awesome.
Yeah. And so that didn't even make me sweat. I mean, I can walk 5 miles, no sweat. And I
Wow.
just thought, well, I can walk 5 miles before lunch and 5 miles after lunch, and I can do this. So that's what I just thought I could do it.
And you did this at 70 years old?
Well, I was 69 when I started, but I had my 70th birthday on the Camino. And then
That is mind-boggling. That's incredible.
well, I was 73 when I walked last year.
Wow, Kathleen.
No, maybe I was 72. I think I was 72. Yeah,
So in
72.
66 days, you did a 500-mile walk.
Yeah. But like I say, I took every Sunday off, and like after those first few, and then I stayed in a town during Holy Week. So I was there during before Easter. And I thought, oh, I would like to stay in a town and just participate in Holy Week services with these town people.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I got a hotel for a week in this town, and it was lovely. I mean, those Spanish people know how to do Lent. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they are so emotional, and oh my gosh. So I was there on what was it? Anyway, it was the week before Easter, and I was in this town. I think it was Najira or something, and they said there would be a service down at the church. So I went down to the church, had my phone, I could take pictures, and you should have seen it. There were all these people with like cone-shaped hats that were dark purple satin cone-shaped hats, and then they had these black things over their face so you couldn't see their
You mean
face.
like a veil?
Yeah, or it was probably some kind of specialty fabric that you can see through. I don't know.
Wow.
But I mean, I couldn't see through it, but maybe they could,
Oh,
see
wow.
out. And they had drums, and they were going da 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 da, like that. And they had purple satin capes on too. I mean, they were covered up with purple satin with black over their face. And anyway, so we did a procession, and the priest led it, and then there were these guys that had flutes, and they were playing the melody, right? And then the drummers were after that, and they were and they just so loud. It was amazing. There were a lot of them. And we walked through the whole town and did this procession. And then we came back up to the church. I guess half of the drummers went one way and half of the drummers went the other way. And the people went up to the church. And then this man saw that I was taking pictures, and he pointed down the street like he wanted me to take pictures of that down there. He wanted me to look down there.
Uh-huh.
And at the bottom of the street, like we were up on the hill at the cathedral, and at the bottom of the street, you could hear the drums getting louder and louder.
Wow.
And then you saw like this larger than life size statue of Jesus carrying the cross.
Wow.
And then coming from the other direction was Our Lady of Sorrows, the Mother Mary with the black cape, and all is beautiful.
Sounds
and
amazing.
A sad look on her face. And they were like, when you could just imagine that Mary saw Jesus, all the drums stopped, and it was just quiet.
Wow.
And then I know, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
I'd probably be getting butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah, it was, I mean, talk about, I mean, they really got into it, right?
Yeah,
They
I'll
got
say.
into the Passion of Christ and Mary and her sorrow and stuff like that. So I was just like, I was just bowled over. I had never seen anything like that. And
I've never heard anything like that either. It
yeah,
sounds
it was
incredible.
amazing. And I took a video of it too. It's pretty intense.
It sounds gorgeous. So
Yeah.
so Kathleen, at the so wow, so it's just like you're giving me so much visuals here, so many visuals. So at the end of this journey, the 66-day journey, I can't imagine that you were a complete different person from the beginning to the end. In 66 days, you must have been completely transformed.
Yes. And it was the kindness of the people and their acceptance of me. And just, I get, being there for the Passion of Christ was very uplifting. So many uplifting things happened. Like on my birthday, I had to stay in this town. I was ill on my birthday. I was sick and I had to stay in this town. And I went down, I was starting to feel better. So I went down to the street and they were blocking it off. And I was like, okay, they're blocking it off. And they set up all these big like stoves with pans on them and they were making paella
Oh
or
yeah, paella, right, with
paella.
like
Yeah,
rice
that's
and
it.
yeah, oh,
Yeah.
that's delicious.
Yeah. So they had all these giant things doing that. And then they had all down the street, they had like wooden dance floors. They were just all down the street. And then I went down and did my laundry. And then after a while, I saw all these people gathering and they put chairs and tables along the sides and all these little girls with their flamenco dancing costumes on.
Wow.
And also their teachers with the flamenco dancing costumes on. And anyway, they were having a flamenco festival and
That's
all
on
the
your
little
birthday.
well, the day after my birthday, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so that was really, I mean, and I was there for it. I mean, thank you, God. And so I think God just took me on a really nice vacation on the Camino Santiago, and although it was work and, when you walk a long ways, God can talk to you. Walking is like a meditation. I
Sure.
mean, you have to breathe. You're breathing, right?
Right.
And heavily, and one foot in front of the other. And where does your mind go? Just wherever God takes it, and just noticing the beauty as it shows up. And it was a wonderful experience.
It sounds amazing experience. I mean, you're
Mhm.
inspiring me to go do that. I would love to do something. I never even thought of doing anything like that. And now you're putting these images and this incredible inspiration for me to go do it one of these days. So how
Yeah.
many stories are in your book?
Oh, I don't know. Lots of stories. There's 21 chapters. I think 21 or 22 chapters. I don't know. Chapter 22. Yeah. So there's adventures in all the chapters from, one thing, I mean, I'm a lady and I'm American, right? And
Yeah.
in America, it's against the law to expose yourself, right? And
Yes.
so I had to go pee in the bushes all the time.
Uh-huh.
And that was really hard for me because it's just a taboo for us. I mean, in
Sure. It
Europe,
is.
people just do that. They go in the bushes.
Yeah, there's like they probably don't have the shame that we like grow up with
Yeah,
over here.
right. So that was a real problem for me. And so after a while, I thought, you know what? I just need a skirt. And
Yeah.
so I took a pair of my pants and I cut them up and I made them into a skirt so that I don't have to bare my butt when I pee in the woods. So uh, that was one of the main problems that I had on the Camino, actually.
What about pains and stuff? Did you get spasms or cramps on your legs, blisters on your feet?
I did not. I think a lot of people do get blisters, and that's one of the main things about the Camino. Actually, my friend Judy, that inspired me to go, she actually got blisters and was walking with bloody feet.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, but I did not get blisters. I wear negative ion clothes, so I have negative ion socks, and I'm pretty sure it just puts oxygen into your feet.
What
And
is that?
so,
I don't know negative ion socks. What is that? I never even heard of that.
yeah, so I bought them for my husband because I wanted to cure him from Parkinson's disease, and they said it would help him, but he refused to wear them. He didn't want me to be his healer. He wanted me to accept him the way he was. So anyway, I got them for myself and actually got rid of my arthritis wearing them.
What?
Yeah, I didn't even know that would happen. I was just thinking, well, I don't feel very good. I'm going to wear them myself, if he won't wear them. And I had arthritis for like 3 years. I teach breathing and I have to get on the floor with my clients. And I had been scooting around on my butt instead of kneeling down next to my clients like I like to for like 3 years. And then I got the clothes on a Tuesday. And by Sunday, I could actually kneel. It still was painful, but 3 weeks later, no more pain. And I don't have arthritis anymore.
I guess
So,
I've never heard of negative ion clothing. What's in it? So
yeah.
what's infused with? How does this even work?
Yeah. So there's a company in Japan that makes specialty fabrics. They actually make bulletproof vests, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And back in the 30s, actually,
What?
they were thinking, wow, negative ions are really good for people. And so if we invented a fabric that emits negative ions, we could really affect the health of people. And they were like inventing, they never got it. And then the war with Japan, and they had to stop doing their inventing because they were all at war. And then after the war, everybody was either sick or dead, because of the radioactive
Yeah, all the
fallout.
bombings. Yeah.
Yeah. And so everybody had radioactive disease. And so they finally figured it out. And what they did was they took PVC and they fermented it for 9 months. And then they added chlorine to it, which has a propensity for an extra negative ion. And voila, they had a stable substance that emits negative ions all the time. And then they made threads out of it, and then they made cloth out of it, and they gave it to their friends and relatives, and they put it on, just put the cloth on them, and they got rid of their radioactive fallout from the negative ions go in, and they attract out your positive toxins. And so that's what they do. You wear these clothes and they sit right on your skin, and you have to have them on your skin. You can't just, it's underwear, right? And
Yeah.
blankets and pajamas and stuff like that.
And so you wore these socks?
Yeah, I did. I brought negative ion socks with me, and I wore them, and I didn't get blisters.
That's incredible.
So yeah. So I'm very lucky. I feel like I'm very fortunate. It was really sad that Ron got sick, but I got some good things out of it. I got my negative ion clothes and got rid of my arthritis, and I got some good stuff from it.
Do you feel that you had healing as well? Like going on this Camino, did you have any type of healing yourself aside from the arthritis?
Healing for myself. Well, I because of my post-traumatic stress disorder, I was just always sad in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was attracting in sad stuff because I was sad. Whatever you think about, you bring about. So there I was bringing about sadness. And and I used to always say, I noticed that other people got good things in their life and I did not. And I used to say, I don't get the good stuff. But you know what? After the Camino, I felt like I get the good stuff. That's what I felt like. So
Wow, it
that
sounds
was
like,
a healing in that way.
yeah, I'll say.
Um, anyway, my health was way down after taking care of my husband for so long. And it was, and I think that's why I got sick so much on the Camino. But afterwards, I wasn't, I wasn't all the way healed. I still had some sadness, but I was quite a bit healed, I must say.
Sounds like definitely a healing journey. Well, what
Yeah.
an incredible story of yours,
Mhm.
Kathleen. Thank you so much for sharing. How can our viewers, our watchers, and our listeners find you and find your book?
Well, I self-published, so it's on Amazon, and it's a
Excellent. I love that
three-time
cover, by the way. Who designed that cover?
uh, um, uh, Alejandro Martin designed my cover.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. He's a very awesome guy. And he's a wonderful artist. And anyway, so you can get it on Amazon. And I have one of the things in my book right across from the table of contents is it says, read this first and view my portfolio of my pictures as my gift to you. So people told me that I should put my pictures in my book because they love my pictures. And I said, yeah, and my book's going to cost $50 if I do that. So I made a website. Sorry. I made a website and I put the pictures in portfolios of the chapters. So you can go on there and you can
What a
look.
great idea.
Yeah, you have to get the book and you have to opt in. And I'm sorry you have to opt in, but that's just the way the world is now.
Sure.
You have to double opt in. So then you can see my pictures as you read.
Kathleen Israel, everybody, and her incredible book, Wisdom on the Camino, available on Amazon. Thank you, Kathleen, for being an incredible guest on the Little Less Fear podcast. I wish you many blessings and I would say go do another Camino. Maybe I'll see you there in the future. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the Camino del Norte next.
Where's that at? Del Norte?
It's across the northern coast of Spain.
Dang, Kathleen is on the run. Kathleen on the run. Well, good luck to you. Many blessings to you. And thank you so much for sharing your love, your light, and your energy.
Thank you too. I really appreciated it.
Oh, yes, you're welcome, Kathleen. Have a good day now.
Bye-bye.